Welcome back to BikeMatters. In this video, we're going to give you 6 great retro scooters that you can buy in 2023. Kicking off the list at number 6 is the Royal Alloy GP300S. Known for their classic Lambretta-inspired models, Royal Alloy have a couple of models on today's list. However, the 6th spot is the GP, which has seen some updates for 2023. The scooter itself has metal bodywork and has an abundance of classic styling reminiscent of the glory days from the 60s and 70s. It really is a great looking machine. It's fair to say it has a decent amount of colourway choices too, which really complement its classic looks. Powered by a version of the 278cc Vespa engine, this single-cylinder liquid-cooled motor produces a stated 24.8 brake horsepower, which is actually more than the Vespa GTS and Royal Alloy TG. It is a scooter model fairly equipped too, with USB charging port, LED lighting, lockable glove box, adjustable rear suspension and disc brakes all round. Starting at £5,299, this is a typical price point for a scooter of this spec. However, given that it's a Chinese-built machine, it's still within £1,000 of a genuine Vespa GTS. So for the pros, it's got those Lambretta looks, it's got a decent engine, and the spec is actually pretty good. As for the cons, there's just the one, and it's the Chinese manufacturing. Now what takes 5th? At number 5, we have an exciting new model from Lambretta. It's the X300. Cue all the hate comments from those saying it's not an Innocenti, therefore it's not a real Lambretta. Life's too short, move on. But it's fair to say modern day Lambretta are in full attack mode and hitting 2023 hard in the launch of 2 pretty significant large capacity retro scooters. The X300 is the first one I'm going to talk about. Packing a 275cc liquid-cooled single-cylinder engine, the X300 puts out 24.8 horsepower at 8,250 RPM and 24.5 Nm of torque at 6,250 RPM. The X300 tries to keep the same stylistic features which made Lambretta so iconic, including the tapered lines and steel bodywork, but it is fair to say the design does include some futuristic styling too. Lambretta aren't just recreating the past, they are inspired but want to bring their scooters into the modern day. With a keyless system, full LED lighting and an awesome looking semi-digital display, the X300 packs the type of spec we come to expect. Prices to be confirmed, but you'd like to think that Lambretta would keep things a tad cheaper than the Vespa, so therefore I expect this to be around £5,500 to £6,200. ETA is in early 2023. For pros, it's new to the market, it's a good rival to the GTS, and the spec does look decent. So for the cons, the underseat storage might be a little tight, and ultimately, it's not an Innocenti. Let's take a look at 4th place now, shall we? 2023 sees the return of the Vespa GTV Sei Giorni, and for me, it hits the list at number 4. But why isn't it further up the list, I hear you cry? Well, yes, the GTV is essentially the GTS, but with tweaked styling. But guess what, folks? It's styling I don't particularly like, and that's why it's at number 4. Packing the 278cc HPE engine, the new GTV has the most powerful Vespa engine to date, putting out 23.8 horsepower. Now styling wise, I'm not a huge fan of this GTV, though you can see Vespa are trying to give the GTV a sporty and modern twist. I'm just not sure it completely works. You'll have to let me know what you think of the new styling in the comment section down below. With a spec you'd expect from the GTS, such as keyless ignition, digital dash, traction control, along with an improved seat and suspension and brakes. Expect your typical Vespa experience, all for a typical Vespa price. I expect this one to be similar to the GTS at £6,200 or over. So for the pros, it's got that all-powerful HPE engine. It's a Vespa and basically a GTS, and ultimately it's something very different. As for cons, the styling definitely won't be for everyone, and it is a very premium price point. Okay, we're on to the big spots. Let's see what models are taking our top 3. Well, taking the 3rd spot on this list, it's Royal Alloy's flagship scooter, the TG300. With a, yes, you guessed it, 278cc single-cylinder liquid engine, the TG produces just over 22 horsepower, which is a bit down compared to the new GP. Based upon the awesome TV Series 2 Lambretta, the TG is truly reliving the glory days of Lambretta, keeping everything as close to the classic styling as possible. The TG really is an absolute beauty. With its king and queen seat, awesome colourways including a bit of two-tone, the TG looks the real deal. Look a bit closer though and you'll start to spot the modern aspects such as LED lighting, USB charging port and TFT display. Starting from £5,399, the TG is about £800 cheaper than the base Vespa GTS300. As for pros, we've got Lambretta looks, the spec is decent and it's got such fine attention to detail. For cons, the GP is just stated as more powerful and ultimately the Chinese parts and manufacturing. Okay, so what retro beauty takes the 2nd spot on our list? So in at number 2 and just missing out on the number 1 spot is Lambretta's new premium offering is the G350. Okay, so this is only missing out on the top spot by a whisker, but that doesn't stop me from being extra excited by this model. The Lambretta G350 is ahead of the X300 in the look stakes for me, but throw in a 330cc single-cylinder liquid-cooled motor, producing 25.8 horsepower at 7,500 RPM and 25.5 Nm torque at 6,250 RPM, the G350 looks set to be the most powerful production retro scooter available on the market and really does set itself apart. The Lambretta G350 really could be the new king of large retro scooters in my opinion, as Lambretta haven't just concentrated on the engine, the rest of the tech and spec is pretty impressive. Full TFT display, full LED lighting, tailored seat, USB charger and high levels of attention to detail. How much is going to cost? Well, this is to be confirmed. My guess is going to be from £5,500 to about £7,000. Pros here? The engine could be class leading, the looks are fantastic for me. It's something different on the market, it's really new and out there, and also that spec is brilliant. As for cons, this is completely untested. It's all on paper and we're not sure how this is going to perform. And here we go people, the best large capacity retro scooter for 2023 is, drumroll please, the Vespa GTS300. Okay, so on paper, I think the Lambretta might well be deserving of the #1 spot, but as it's yet to reach the UK shores and it's untested, I'll stick to the GTS clinching #1 spot for now, but will the G350 overtake for 2024? Time will tell. The GTS has been the leading light for large capacity retro scooters since it was released and has been the go-to modern retro for those wanting something that can handle longer jaunts with decent acceleration and top speed. With the standard GTS, Super, Super Sport and Super Tech, there are versions to suit most, including rather a few decent colorway options too. At the heart of the GTS is the 278cc HPE engine which creates 23.8 horsepower at 8,250 RPM and 26 Nm of torque at 5,250 RPM, which should handle what most people are looking for. However, as I've mentioned, we are now seeing rivals producing more power, so could it be time for Vespa to address this? If you like this idea, then you might like to check out Brett's Vespa GTS400 video. It's got decent spec too, including keyless ignition, traction control, along with improved seat, switchgear, dash, suspension and brakes for 2023. With models starting around £6,200, the GTS is definitely a premium option, but it is truly a great retro scooter. Is the GTS300 worthy of the top spot? Let me know in the comment section down below. So for pros here, there have been some subtle but very impressive changes for 2023. It looks amazing, the spec is brilliant and it is ultimately the real deal. As for cons, it's a premium price point and it's a little bit tight on storage space. Now if you want to know what the best new scooters are for 2023, click the video in the top right hand corner now. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and I'll see you in the next one.